Camera number 136 of 365, and it's the Nikomat FTN, which is a refinement of the original FT. A couple of things that were tweaked, mostly internal, because to look at it externally it looks very much like a Nikomat FT, but I believe the metering has changed, and also we can now see the film speeds inside the viewfinder. So just looking at the Nikomat here that I've got, it has my favourite 50mm 1.8 lens, which we take it off by making sure it's set to f5.6, and then we press the lens release, which is where my thumb is, and then rotate round, and there we go. So we can see the Nikomat there. We have our self timer. Let's just actuate that. Notice the mirror moves out of the way. It's a mechanical camera, the Nikomat FTN, as was the FT, only requiring batteries to power the meter that's through the lens metering. It's a 1.3 volt battery, but I've actually put inside here a slightly underpowered LR44, which is a 1.5 volt battery, but that seems to do the trick, and the meter works, and we can see on the top here, but I'll come back to that in a few moments. You'll notice there's a great big dent on the top here. There's a story there, obviously, I don't know, but it's a serious dent into the metal there. These seriously heavy cameras. I'm not quite sure whether someone was building a house and decided to use it as a hammer. I'm not quite sure, but it survived and it continues to work fine, including the metering. Meanwhile, coming back, so our film speed is set with this little window that is, we just slide to our desired film speed, and then shutter speeds are operated with this lever. We can see them around the side here. So we have a top speed of 1/1000th of a second right down to B. And we have mirror lockup, which we press down. Mine's a bit stiff. I'm not quite sure whether that's naturally stiff, but that certainly is. I have to be quite forceful with that. And then we have just the little dial here along the dial that calibrates our mirror, our lens, beg your pardon. So as I say, this is a 1.8 lens, so make sure it's on 5.6. And we rotate it, do the Nikon shuffle, and then we can see that indeed the little red dot is between 1.2 and 2.8, showing that our lens is now calibrated with the meter. So notice the meter window. This is a reflection of what we see through the viewfinder, the match needle system. And so when we change our apertures, the idea is to match the needle right in the middle there, which we can just do. Mentioned also that the apertures are, sorry, not the apertures, the film speed is also now seen through a window. So when we change our shutter speed, sorry, did I say film speed? I meant shutter speed. We can see that without having to take our eye off the viewfinder. Our film rewind crank, and again we have to press the little lever to open the door. Very, very identical to the FT there. And then just turning our attention to the other side, we have our aperture or diaphragm or stop down button, our film counter, film advance, and shutter actuation sound. When I used it, I was inside a particular house and someone heard it and said, "Oh, that's a very reassuring sound," and a conversation ensued, and it was very enjoyable to use that camera, I must say. There we go, there's the diaphragm. So that is camera number 136 of 365, the Nikomat FTN.